Well, hello there, my single mother tribe. How are you doing? I'm Hope, your fairy single godmother, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Jumpstart Your Week Sunday, where I inspire, empower, and equip you with the tools that you need to start your week off successfully and to live a victorious life. Today, I'm continuing on the Power of Momentum series, and today I'm going to tell you about step 2 of how to get momentum going to accomplish and fulfill your God-given vision and dreams. Okay, so stick around and I'll get started shortly. But before I do, if you can go ahead and click that subscribe button for me, please. And while you're at it, if you can click the blue bell, that way you will be notified every time I upload new videos. Now, I upload new videos on Sunday, which is Jumpstart Your Week Sunday, Check-In Wednesday, and Self-Care Saturday. So don't miss it, okay? And the only way that you won't miss it is to subscribe to my Hope for Single Mothers YouTube channel and also to click the bell, okay? If you joined me last time, I began a series about the power of momentum. And basically, this is almost like a continuation of the vision board series. So now that your vision board is up and you have it hanging up and hopefully you're looking at it every day and you're exercising and applying the power of decree. Last video, I spoke to you about the power of momentum. And I talked to you about, the momentum that is needed in order to get or lift a space shuttle off the ground into outer space. And I told you about the several components such as the external fuel tank, the orbital maneuvering system, the 3 engines, and the SRBs that are used to lift a 4.5 million pound space shuttle off the ground and to launch it into outer space. And that's similar to how it is when it's concerning lifting or launching our dreams, our God-given vision and dreams off the ground, off the piece of paper, off our minds, or, out of our imaginations and making them a reality. Well, the same type of momentum is needed and it's going to be necessary to do the same thing. And so in my first video, I discussed the power of momentum, and that momentum is just a force to make something move and to put something into movement and to maintain of movement. And so I also talked to you about, once you get a clear vision of what it is that you've been called to do, once you've received your clear vision from God, because now vision can only come from God. I mean, it can come from other sources, of course, but if you are seeking to live a fulfilling and satisfying life, if you are seeking to accomplish your God-given purpose and destiny and your life's assignment, then that vision must first come from God. So once you get a clear vision of, what God has called you to do and the purpose for which you were created, and I know these things seem so big and huge, and we do have to break them down. And so that's the purpose of your vision board, because you're breaking things down on a yearly basis. So we're basically focusing on what God has for you this year. And once that vision board has been created, now how to take those things that God has given you that's on that vision board and to take them off that vision board and make them a reality. What's needed? What's the first step? And in my last video, I had explained that once you get a clear vision of what God have for you to do, that you need to devise a POA, a plan of action. And so that plan of action, basically, you have to add up the cost. That no one goes, well, anyone who wants to fulfill it and be successful and to reach their goal and their destiny. No one goes into just doing things blindly. That, for instance, I use the example that if you want to start your business, no one just puts up a business overnight. That a lot of thought and research and planning goes behind any big, project or endeavor. And that's what it's going to take, for your God-given vision and dreams. It's going to take a plan of action. And so I explained to you, as far as the plan of action, to do your research, to do your due diligence, that we have a responsibility to we have a part to play, and that we have our part and God has his part. But we have to partner and cooperate with the plan of God if we want it to, if we want to see it come to pass. And so once we've done our due diligence, then we can leave the rest up to God. But it's a part that we must play. And so, and that's all a part of, like I said, devising a plan of action. And once you've done that, then I found a lot of times you just have to get into action. I know from my own personal experience, as far as launching Hope for Single Mothers, this is a 12-year vision that God had given me 12 years ago, back in 2006. And it took some time, it took some planning, it took much prayer. I believe, especially when it comes to ministry and anything really that's God ordained, and that's a God vision, that it's going to take prayer in order to birth what's in the spirit into the natural. It's going to take time of prayer, disciplined time of prayer, to call those things that be not, that we cannot see, which is in the spirit realm, into the natural realm where it's tangible and visible. Okay. So, as I was saying, for Hope for Single Mothers, it took years, 12 years of just praying, for this to be a reality today. Okay. So like I said, nothing just happens overnight, nothing worthwhile, nothing lasting. It's going to just happen overnight. That it's going to take prayer. It's going to take time. It's going to take research. It's going to take discipline in order, to just cooperate with the plan of God to see that thing come to manifestation and fruition. Okay. And so once all that is done, like I said, the next step, which is step 2, is to pretty much get in action. That once you've done your due diligence, I've known, even for my own self, I can really admit, because I'm very analytical and thought out and methodical, and God has had to work with my personality. And I'm not, as methodical and analytical as I used to be. I'm more swiftly moving. But like I said, some people have a tendency that once they've planned it, once they've researched it, that they stay stuck there. And God's desire is not for us to be stuck in a process. That God is a God of progression. So we're constantly moving from one step to another step to another step, closer and closer. The Word of God says that we are to go from faith to faith and glory to glory. Okay, so we're continuously, day by day, moving closer and closer and closer to our purpose and destiny. If we're not already in our purpose, that, the steps and the things that God has given us to do, that we should be moving and progressing daily towards those things. And if we are in purpose, which we should be, that we're moving, we're taking each day and we're getting stronger. We're developing our faith more and more each day, that we're taking each day and we're applying those things that God has given us on a daily basis, so that we can eventually, reach the mark of the high calling that Paul talks about, that we run a race, but there's a finish line. There is a obtainable goal. There is a reward at the end of that. Okay. So we want to get into action. And like I said, I've noticed, and I can even say it for myself, that this is where a lot of people tend to just stop. The idea is big. You kind of get stuck in the honeymoon stages of visioneering, if I can say that, the thought of a thing, even the planning and the research of the thing is so maybe exciting, and you're imagining all these things, and it's scary, but it's exciting all at the same time, where you can't just stay there. That after you've done your research, after you've done your due diligence, after you've devised your plan of action. Now it's time to get into action, okay? You just can't plan it. You have to get into it, okay? So I just want to encourage you. Like I said, it could be scary. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how scary it was for me to launch Hope for Single Mothers. But you know what? God has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given us a mind of power and soundness and love. So we can't allow fear to keep us paralyzed. We can't allow fear to keep us stuck. Fear of the unknown. Fear of, what's going to happen if I step out on faith and it doesn't work? Oh, what's going to happen if I step out on faith and it does work? Oh my goodness. We have to get past that, and we have to push past the fear. We have to push past the adversity. Now that Hope for Single Mothers has been, up and going, and it's been into existence for officially, because like I said, it's been a 12-year, in the making type of thing. Now that Hope for Single Mothers is finally launching it several months after, you have to, I can tell you now that prior to me launching, those months leading up, and even those weeks and even those days leading up to the official launch of Hope for Single Mothers, that I had never in all of my life, as being a believer, and pretty much just all of my life, never had experienced so much adversity, so much opposition. I'm telling you, it's as if hell just bust wide open, and everything that could happen did happen to stop me. But you know what? I didn't allow it to stop me. I remember through the entire process, just hearing the voice of the Lord telling me, do not stop. Keep going forth, keep moving forward, keep pushing. And I'm telling you, it was a press. It was a press, because there's some things that happened that literally took the breath out of me, that had I not, my faith been in God as it is, had I not been rooted and grounded in the Word of God, had I not have the relationship that I have with God, had I not just known that God is faithful and that He is good, I don't know, I just don't know. But so I said all that to say, just to encourage you, that don't take opposition and adversity as a sign of, oh, it must mean that I should stop, or it must mean that, I'm doing the wrong thing. My friend, my single mother tribe, that is quite the contrary. When things come up against you, that ought to be a confirmation that you are right on track and you're doing exactly what God has called you to do, okay? And like I said, before Hope for Single Mothers was launched, I endured so much adversity, more than I had ever, probably in my entire life, because you know what? I launched something huge and something great, and it was a vision that God had given me, a 12-year vision, as a matter of fact. And I just want you to understand that nothing that God gives us, nothing big, because God is a big thinking God. So you're going to face adversity. You almost should just get ready and prepared for it, so that when it comes, you won't be taken off guard. You won't be surprised about it, but that you can stand firm and stand your ground. And no matter what is coming at you, no matter what things are looking like, that you continue to move forth in the things that God has called and ordained for you to do. Okay. So I just want to encourage you, I believe it's Proverbs 24:10. It says that if you faint in the day of adversity, then your strength is made, is made weak. And so basically what it's saying is that, if you can't stand your ground when things start to get kind of shaky, when you can't stand your ground in tough times, then you can't move on to, the other things, that it's in a day of adversity. My pastor was just talking about today as far as being tried and tested. And he said that, and he spoke today about the test of small things, that if you cannot stand your ground, if you can't pass the test of small things, meaning that if you can't endure the little things, then what makes you think that you are going to be able to endure the bigger things? That to whom much is given, much is required, that we have to be faithful over the little things. Before God can entrust us for the bigger and better things that he has in store for us, because he has bigger and better in store for us. God's vision for our lives is always bigger, always better than anything that we could even hope or think or imagine, okay? But we have to get through this before we can get to that, okay? And so I just want to encourage you, like I said, that step 2 is to stand your ground, to hold your ground and get into action. Don't stay stuck in the planning process, because, you know, to be perfectly honest, for some of us, that could be our comfort zone. You know, that we can plan and 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 never get into action. But like I said, once we've done our due diligence, once we've done our research, once we have counted up the costs and we have been diligent in those things, the next step is to get into action, to take that step into action. And I know it's going to be scary. I know it's going to be out of your comfort zone. I know it's going to require a level of faith that you may not up until this point have exercised. But I am here to tell you, my friend, that it is so well worth it. I am telling you from personal experience that after you take the first step of action, that, you know, I can remember as a little girl, I lived in a neighborhood where, you know, I had a lot of friends. And so we would go bike riding up and down the street. And so you know how it is when you get on the bike, that the bike is not going to move. You're not going to move anywhere until you get your feet pedaling. You know, you got to get that motion going. And once you know, and depending on, you know, what type of surface you're biking on, if you're biking on a flat surface, usually it's not that hard to get the momentum going. But if you're trying to pedal uphill, it's usually difficult to get that momentum going to pedal uphill. But then once you reach uphill, you know, you kind of get to a point to where you've gotten that momentum going, and you can even take your feet off the pedal and start coasting, because you've put enough of force behind pedaling to get uphill that now you got that bike going in a motion. You know, I'm not really big on science, but, you know, the laws of motion is that it takes motion to get something into motion, okay? So once you get something into motion, it usually stays, you know, into motion unless something slows it down, okay? And that's the same thing with getting your God-given vision and dreams off the ground, that it's going to take some action. It's going to take some motion. It's going to take some momentum to get those things off the ground and into action and moving closer to your destiny, moving closer to, you know, those things coming to pass, okay? So I just want to encourage you not to become discouraged, not to allow the adversity that you may be experiencing to trip you up and to cause you not to get into action. Just take that first step. That's all it takes. I'm telling you, get that momentum going, okay? And then once that momentum is going, then, you know, you will have developed, you know, a system. Will have developed, you know, a discipline. You will have developed a routine of things, so that now what was so hard and maybe difficult to do at the beginning, that you find, because you're disciplined in doing it, you've been consistent in doing it, that it's not as hard as when it started. And you're also building up your faith muscles. You're also building up those muscles so that you are able to withstand the storm that may come, those storms that may come to try to hinder you, to stop you, to frustrate you, to, you know, to discourage you, that you will be strong enough to withstand those storms and hold your ground so that you can see the fulfillment and the manifestation of all that God has promised you and all that, you know, he has given you through vision, okay? So I hope that I said something that really touched you and really challenged you, because this is what I'm here for. I am here to challenge you. I am here to push you and to catapult you into your God-given purpose and destiny, okay? Because God has great things in store for you, okay? So remember, get moving, get into action, get that momentum going, okay? Well, I thank you so much for joining me today. And I encourage you that if you haven't watched a video 1, to go back and watch video 1, okay? All right then. Now, if you're joining me by my new Hope for Single Mothers YouTube channel, and if you have not clicked that subscribe button yet, I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and do that right now. All right now. Okay, and click the bell too. That way you'll be notified, okay? Well, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope I got you stirred up to get into action, okay? Go ahead and get into action. Now that you've planned, now that you have thought things out, now that you've come up with a POA, a plan of action, now that you've counted up the cost, take that first step, all right? Yes, and I'm so happy that you're going to do it, okay? Well, I leave you today, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will be back with Check-In Wednesday, where I will be continuing on my Mind Makeover series. It's been an awesome series. I'm really excited because there's much breakthrough. There's a lot of breakthrough that's coming as a result of that series of breaking those negative thoughts and destructive mindsets and limiting beliefs. I just believe that people are being set free and delivered in their minds so that they can receive and have all that God has called and prepared for them, okay? Well, I leave you with love, peace, and blessings, and you have a wonderful day. Don't forget, go ahead and comment below because I am still doing Subscriber of the Week. So if you check in on Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday, I'm going to pull the name and bless you with a gift card, okay? Just for you, you know, supporting and following me and tuning in to Hope for Single Mothers, okay? Thank you so much. Love you. And I leave you with love, peace, and blessings. Bye-bye.